Good evening and welcome to Just Ladies. I am your host Anjimla, and today I have an amazing lady who came to Kenya, to East Africa, and she came to help our young ladies. Well, I'm going to introduce her. She's called Shay Gibbons, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to all of you. Go ahead.
Hi, Angela.
Hi, how are you?
I am doing wonderful. I even feel better now that we met in person.
I know, me too.
Yes.
I know I read about your article on the True Love,
Okay.
and I fell in love with you, and I was like, I have to get her, and now you're here. Amazing. You're welcome. So tell us, where did you grow up? What did you do before now you started your journey here in Kenya?
I grew up in a little town called Los Angeles. No, I'm joking.
No, that's not small. I was like, you lying.
LA is like huge. I grew up in Los Angeles, California, in the heart of the entertainment capital.
Yes, it is.
So I grew up in a little home, middle-class home, not far from Hollywood, California. Well, in California, not far from Hollywood.
Yeah.
And always thought growing up I would be an actress or I would somehow experience a little bit of politics.
Yeah.
Congresswoman. And interestingly enough, my life took a completely different turn. And here I am in Kenya.
I see that.
It's such an amazing story how.
And that's why you're here. Share it.
So many of us, sometimes, Angela, can plan our lives out.
Yeah.
Like every little girl thinks by the age of 12, I'm going to be doing this.
Yeah.
By 21, I would have finished the university, I'll be married, have 3 kids. And sometimes God has a totally different plan than we expect.
It's true.
And so my life has taken a completely different turn, and here I am in Kenya helping young ladies.
I know, and that is amazing.
Yes.
So what did you school there, and what were you studying, and what made you come to Kenya?
I went through high school, like I said, not far from a university called UCLA. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have. Everybody has heard of it.
I went to a high school not far from UCLA.
Yeah.
And I ended up joining a university called San Diego State. And I studied English. And funny enough, I didn't know what I wanted to major in.
Yeah.
You know, like as a kid, you're supposed to know exactly what you want to be, what you want to study. I didn't know. And I had to think, well, what am I good at? And I was always good at writing and reading and dramatic interpretation. So I studied English literature through college, and once I finished that, I said, well, I'll go back to Hollywood and I'll start an acting career. And so what I did, I went on auditions and I did a few shows here and there, some that were very popular at the time, but it wasn't taking off like I wanted to. The acting business is very difficult. I mean, some people sell their souls to get the biggest roles. Some people do very interesting things, and I said, if I don't get it the right way, then it just won't happen.
Yeah.
And so I kept trying, and about a couple years into me trying to do the whole acting thing, I felt like something was missing. And I wasn't quite sure what that was. Yeah. And so I started writing. And I found peace and healing in writing, telling stories about some of my experiences that were ugly. The things most people like to hide about themselves, I wrote about them.
Did you publish that?
I published them.
Oh, wow, tell us.
And,
what are those dark things?
People started calling like, oh my gosh, you went through this and you did that, and you have the courage to talk about depression and the courage to talk about what it feels like to be in a bad relationship. Sometimes where a woman is abused. I talk about those things openly because I always believe that if we don't talk about it, we can't be healed. We can't be set free. So I think I've been used as a conduit to help people realize you don't have to keep it in the closet and stay bound up. And so my experience with helping women started through the writing. And while I was writing, I was being healed myself. And the writings helped me travel around the U.S. and do speaking engagements and talk to women about the power that they have to say no or say enough is enough.
Yeah. So when did you come here to Kenya?
Interestingly enough, I was doing my Hollywood thing, and I was working a little bit doing side jobs. And so my mom's church, I was going to a different church. My mom's church said, we're taking some youth to Kenya on a trip. Would you like to go? And so I said, okay, well, I'll mark that off on my things to do list in life. And it'll be a great experience, and I'll come back to my comfortable life. And so we were sent to Machakos on this trip. And it was like an evangelistic mission. And we were talking to people about Christ, and it was absolutely wonderful. And so I'm there, and there were people, you know, passing out Bibles in this little village. And I noticed people were looking at it and trying to figure it out because they couldn't read it. They couldn't read the words. And as a literacy advocate, I thought it was an injustice that most of the women that I was speaking to were unable to read or write. So I started a literacy program for women. And it's funny, at the time I was completely broke. I'm talking, girl, you know,
you were flat broke.
You pull up the pillows in your sofa and you're looking for the
change.
shillings, the change. That was me. And so I was completely broke. And I hear this voice. And the Lord, He speaks to me clearly sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, huh? And then other times it's so clear. This time it was clear. Teach these women to read. And I was like, dude, I'm broke. Are you sure you're talking to the right person? Because I'm not Oprah, I'm not Bill Gates, I'm not Angelina going all over East Africa. You know. And it was clear. And so I went back to the States, and I just started sending $5 through MoneyGram, $10 Western Union. And I was like, buy him some pencils, get a chalkboard. And the women just started coming.
Wow.
And within a few years, we went from 12 women to 300. And I said, okay, these are a lot of people. I think I got to get a job. And I didn't want a real job. You know,
You didn't want a real. What did you want to do though?
I wanted to continue acting.
Wow.
I wanted to do theater. I loved being on stage, but theater doesn't pay the rent. And so that's when I was like, if we want to keep this program going. So I started teaching. I started teaching little kids in primary school how to act. And I loved it.
Wow.
And I was sending money to Kenya for the program. And the women were coming. And it was absolutely amazing. So I thought, okay, I'm doing my humanitarian duty.
Yeah.
And then one day I was reading the newspaper. So I was reading this story in the Daily Nation newspaper about a 10-year-old girl in Isiolo County whose parents married her off to a 55-year-old man. And I instantly become saddened by it. Because I could only imagine what it's like at that age to have to be intimate with a 55-year-old. And I'm a grown woman. I don't want to sleep with a 55-year-old.
I know.
I'm just keeping it real. So you can only imagine a child. And so, you know, I started to feel this sadness, like this poor girl. And I read the story further, how the girl was, rescued by a health worker. And the man, of course, gets upset. He wants his dowry back. He's mad. And the parents say, well, we don't want to refund you anything, so
I'm going to stop you there. because I want our listeners to stay tuned, because we're coming right back after a short break and we'll hear more about her story she read on the Daily Nation. So stay tuned.
Okay, now ladies, if you know